Our community grieves as we mourn those senselessly killed by gun violence. Our prayers are with those who have been wounded, and our heart goes out to all the families in anguish affected by this devastating act.
Royal Rebounds definitely sending a huge prayers up, and our hearts are with all the victims and the families affected by this tragedy today. We are doing the show here with heavy hearts. We still are all basketball fans, but days like today make you realize that there are things bigger in life, and we are certainly disappointed.
Yeah, it's very sad. Calvin and I were just there, a few weeks ago, and I know many of you guys frequent that area a lot. It could have happened to any of us, and it's very, very sad, and things need to be done. But anyways, what's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans by fans. The Kings unfortunately lose to the Golden State Warriors tonight, 109-90, eliminating themselves from playoff contention. Harrison Barnes leads all Kings scores with 18 points. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to smash that like button. And if you would like to join the Royal family with Calvin and I, hit that subscribe button as well.
Yep, Kings fall short tonight. They just looked gassed. They look tired. It's the end of a long season. They're playing all their bench players. Some of these guys are playing heavy minutes, have been for a while now, like Davion and Harrison. And you're going up against a team that is looking like a title contender. So they battled through this game, but they come up short. Page us down for the count.
If you're listening via your favorite podcast platform, we would appreciate a 5-star rating. And if you would like to be a part of the show, you can join us here live on YouTube after every single Kings game. We'll be right back with your Sacramento Kings nightcap. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I know it's a very rough day in Sacramento and a rough day for many of us. On top of that, the Kings are eliminated from playoff contention, which, we've been talking about for a few weeks now was pretty much a sure thing. But today it is official. I want to give a shout out to everybody here joining us in the chat. Makami, Dennis, Fred, T, Gothan, Key Kings, Ivan. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all your support, and we do this for you. So that's what we're here for. All right, Calvin. So Kings lose tonight. They'd been playing pretty well. They just came home. This is their first game home after a 4-1 road trip, beating teams like Indiana, Orlando, Houston twice. Golden State was reeling. They're dealing with injuries. They were scoring the fewest points in the league since Steph Curry's been out. Not tonight. They absolutely light up the Kings in the first quarter and the first half of this game. The Kings are able to, come back or at least tread some water through the third and fourth quarters. They cut it to 7. They were down by 26 at one point in this game. And then Golden State ends this game on an epic run to close out the Kings, just like they did last night against the Jazz.
Yep, 16-2 run there in the final 4 minutes of the game. As you mentioned, the Warriors shot the lights out. This was kind of the exact type of game that the Warriors needed to get back on track. It was the exact wrong game for the Kings, who were, like you said, playing well, but it was against lesser competition in the league. And now they had to go up against one of the juggernauts. Even though they didn't have Steph and Clay, this is still a very complete team. And the reason the Warriors are where they're at is because they're a complete team, not necessarily only because of the star power they have on their team.
Yeah, and the Kings are missing Fox, Holmes, Sabonis. Alex Len was late scratch in this game. And the Warriors are missing a ton of players as well. We saw Draymond Green get ejected in this game. Andrew Wiggins is playing really well. It's crazy how deep this Warriors team actually is. I think Jordan Poole, what did he end with, like 22 points tonight? 27. He's averaging like 28 points since Curry's been out. Klay Thompson was also scratched in this game after an epic game last night. I guess they said it was Achilles, maintaining or something like that.
Well, it's also the second night of a back-to-back. I'm not sure Klay has played a single one of those games at all this season, for good reason. That they're trying to keep him healthy for the playoff stretch, and keep him, not run the tread off his tires too quickly here. So,
yep,
not surprising to see he didn't play.
I want to remind you all that support for Royal Rebounds is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, Calvin. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code ROYALFAMILY. That's right, all capitals, one word, ROYALFAMILY at manscaped.com gets you 20% off and free worldwide shipping. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls.
Yes, a lot of balls. And the offer is available to all of you as well, not just myself, Barry.
And as it says right here, we save balls. All right, Calvin, so rough loss, but let's go ahead here and jump into the box score.
Well, the Kings had a rough go offensively today. 38% shooting from the field, 21% shooting from three. Harrison Barnes, like you said, leads all scorers for Sacramento with 18 to go along with 10 rebounds. Davion Jones, another productive evening, 17 points and 6 rebounds with 2 assists. Davion 9 and 9, and Dante DiVincenzo, although he didn't shoot well, leads the way with 14 points off the bench, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals as well.
Who surprised you the most, or who were you the most impressed with tonight watching this Kings team? Because, you know, unfortunately they did get down by 26, but they didn't give up in this game. They tried to make a run, and they actually did go on a pretty decent run. Fred and I were talking on Instagram, and I was like, check this out. Kings are going on a run here. Mm-hmm. They proved me right, but it wasn't quite enough. But I want to hear who most impressed you tonight, Calvin.
I don't think there's any one person in particular. I mean, you know, if you just looked at the box score here, you would say, well, nobody really had a good game for Sacramento. No one shot well. Harrison was 1 of 8 from 3. Dante was 2 of 9 from 3. But just to go back to what you said, you know, and to go off of what Priest said here in the chat, what were you expecting from the Kings at this point? Playing the Warriors, yep. Yeah, there's no Steph, there's no Clay, but again, it's the end of a long season. The Kings have been losing a lot this year, and the fact that they were down so big, down 20 at halftime, the league grew to what was it, 27 or something at one point in the third quarter. Just the fact that the team was able to cut it under 10 points there at one point in the second half. I'm just impressed, maybe isn't the right word, but I appreciate the Kings' effort. The fact that they continue to play hard no matter what the score is, no matter who's playing. You know, at the end of a long season with only a few games remaining, it'd be pretty easy for these guys to just mail it in and say, all right, yeah, we're done. But they didn't. They kept fighting, and they made a game out of it. In the end, the Warriors turn on the switch, and they pull away late. But, you know, what do you expect? You got to be happy with the effort there.
Yeah, that's right. And the Warriors officially crack 50 wins. The Kings officially crack 50 losses. And they are eliminated. After, you know, the Lakers lost today, it was looking pretty good. But the Spurs won. Kings lose, officially eliminated from playoff contention. There's only 3 games left through the rest of the season. And then the Kings are going on vacation.
They're going fishing.
But Calvin and Barry are not going on vacation. I hope you guys have all subscribed. If you have not, check out the channel I just posted here in the chat. We are launching a second channel called Basketball at the Bar, where we're going to be covering the entire NBA, and we will be covering this year's NBA playoffs along with the play-in tournament and all that stuff. Coverage starts April 11th, so make sure you guys go and subscribe to Basketball at the Bar. Makami says, I appreciate how Alvin was into the game. And I have to agree with Makami here. Alvin Gentry was working the sideline, up and down, back and forth, like he was in this game, like the Kings were fighting for a playoff spot.
I've seen him do that, I would say, pretty much every game he's been on the sideline this year. Yeah, that's just who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, for a guy that's put in such a tough position as Alvin Gentry, I know a lot of you guys are very I don't want to say hateful, but just not appreciative of Alvin's services and what he's done here in Sacramento. I got to give the guy, you know, credit for everything that he's done, because he's really put in a tough position, and he's tried his hardest Timothy. We won. We beat your Kings. Wow, Timmy, I didn't know you played on the team. This is a hard day in general. I feel for the people of Sacramento. They're in my thoughts and prayers. Sorry, not basketball related. That's okay, Priest. I mean, we started out the show like that. Very, very sad day for Sacramento. I think this is the second mass shooting in Sacramento in the past 5 weeks or so. So very, very sad.
Some things are bigger than basketball, like we said. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, since nobody impressed you on this Kings roster tonight, was there anybody on the Warriors that impressed you?
Oh, there sure was. Jordan Poole. From, Barry?
Don't remember.
Michigan.
There you go.
Go Blue.
I should have known that.
No, Jordan Poole has impressed me this whole season. And actually, I wanted to kind of dive deeper into him on this show today because this is a guy that we haven't talked about at all in terms of the Kings potentially trying to grab him. Mm-hmm. He is the rate at which he has improved since he's come into the NBA is quite astonishing. A lot of people thought when he came out of Michigan 2 years ago, or I guess it'll be 3 years ago now, that it was too soon. He wasn't ready. He ends up going into what I thought was the best possible situation for him, not just because they're the Warriors, but because he gets to play behind Steph Curry. And this season, in his breakout year, he shows flashes or looks in certain spurts of the games like Steph Curry to me out there.
He really does.
He's tremendous. His shooting is unbelievable. He's got great handles. He can pass the ball. His defense is not really where I'd like it to be yet. But this is a guy that's 22 years old. Mm-hmm. He's still on he's on his rookie deal. He's eligible for his rookie extension after this season. So, and the thing for me is the Warriors are loaded with young players all of a sudden. They really are. Not only do they have Steph and Clay and Draymond, but they've got tons of young talent on this team. So they're going to have some difficult decisions to make. Maybe it's not this offseason, but it's going to come very, very soon for them. And they've got guys waiting in the wings, like Kuminga, like Moody, all this stuff. So the question is, what do you do with Jordan Poole, who's going to command a lot of money now at this point? Maybe that's somebody that the Kings need to look at.
Okay. They do have a ton of guys, and not even to mention like James Wiseman, how many games that guy's missed. He was the number 2 overall pick just a couple seasons ago. But, yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's a guy that would actually fit very well alongside De'Aaron Fox, number 1, because of his ability to catch and shoot, but 2, because of his playmaking as well. I mean, he's – again, we want to see this team improve defensively, and that maybe isn't Jordan Poole's strongest point. But as I mentioned, this guy's super young. I think he's going to continue to get better and better. I don't really know what the ceiling is for him anymore because of how quickly he's improved this year. So it's something that, the Kings might think about, especially if some of these other guys are unobtainable, like Bradley Beal, like Donovan Mitchell, all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I was watching this game, or actually I was watching post game, and I was thinking to myself, what if Sacramento already has their 4 or 5 and their 2 on this roster for next season? I know we had all talked about, Monty needs to be aggressive. If the Kings want to make the playoffs, if they want to do something, he needs to add more talent to this team. But we've seen guys like Davion Jones play really well as of recently. We've seen Davion Mitchell and Dante DiVincenzo play pretty well as of recently. I just want to hear your thoughts on whether you think those guys could end up starting for next year's Kings team, and if they're able to make some strides, and improve offensively, defensively, if they're able to bring in the right coach, maybe they could bring in another guy with the pick 7, 8, or 9 to make this team a little bit deeper. What are your thoughts on that Kings team?
My thoughts on that well, first of all, your first part of that question, is it possible? Yeah, of course it's possible. I mean, say the Kings are unable to work a deal in the offseason, this sort of mega deal that we kind of think is Monty McNair has his eyes on in terms of getting an all-star player, presumably either a shooting guard or a power forward. If that doesn't end up happening, then the Kings are kind of forced to deal with what they have. I mean, free agency obviously will roll around.
Yep.
But as we've said before, when was the last time the Kings, especially a Kings team that's missed the playoffs 16 years in a row, was able to attract a big-time free agent? So, of course, it's possible that they roll into next season with very similar to what the current roster is. And if that's the case, yes, definitely the starting shooting guard next year, in my opinion, is either Davion or Dante DiVincenzo. I think you have to go through training camp in the offseason to officially get to that determination. Same thing to be said about Trey Lyles. What would the Kings team look like next year if that does happen? Your point about them improving, is the big question mark, right? Because it's how much are they going to improve?
And Terrence Davis,
Davis as well. I mean, I would expect the Kings to win, that Kings team to win more games than this season's team did, but how many more games? I'm not really sure. I don't see them being a 10 to 15 plus win column team next year with that same roster.
Yeah, this year is probably one of the worst Western conferences that we've seen that I remember. Is it going to improve that much next season? Maybe, probably. You just look at the health and how many injured players there are in the West right now, or just in the league straight up. The Kings are going to have to be better than the 10th seed this year, next year, to make that same 10th seed, because I think the entire conference is going to get better. Now, having a coach that has the entire season to develop a system, that has a training camp, that has all these players on the roster. Like, don't forget, just a few months ago, we brought in 6 new players on this team, plus with guys like Sabonis and Fox being out, other guys like Davion Jones are getting more time. Still haven't seen Keita out there, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the Kings are in a horrible position if they draft best available, if there's not any big moves to make, if they just double down on this team, develop some of these young players, try and get some chemistry, try and have an actual system. That was the thing for me that was so frustrating in this game, was there was moments in the third and fourth quarters where the Kings weren't running any kind of scheme on offense or anything at all. I thought they were playing much better on the defensive end of the floor, but as far as offense goes, they just look lost. They didn't have a point guard out there for a lot of the time. Harrison Barnes is just trying to do it himself. And, that can work for small stretches of time, but
not
consistency,
against teams like the Warriors.
Yeah, and to have season-long consistency, you need to have something that you can fall back on. And the beauty of having a system, you see it with Memphis. You see it with Golden State, with some of these teams, that it doesn't matter who's in and who's out. If you have a system, you can find guys or trade or pick up guys that fit that system, and you can plug and play them when guys are out with injury. And you don't have these huge drop-off in talents like we see on this Kings team.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said before, they just look tired to me, which when you get tired, that's when you start to see offense break down, and it's one guy trying to will his way to the basket while the other guys are just standing around there. They're tired, they're defeated. It's the end of the year, and they're ready for it to be over.
Yeah, and they just got back from a 5-game road trip. Yep. Davion Mitchell has been playing a ton of minutes.
He has.
Which I'm sure he's not used to. He's played more games this year than he's probably played in his college career.
More games this year than he's played in his whole life, probably.
Yeah, it's wild.
Any one season, for sure.
Christian Wood, John Collins, and fourth trade, first and Davion. What? I don't understand this, Luis. Trade first Davion, Holmes, or HB for Christian Wood and John Collins. I might do that. Gothan wants to know if you think DeMarcus Cousins is going to get a ring in Denver.
I don't see them winning this year, if that's what you mean.
Did he get one from the Lakers?
It's a good question.
He was on that team. He got cut, and I think they offered him one.
Still offer him a ring,
but I don't know if he took it or not.
Same with Waiters, right?
Yeah.
Like he would have gotten a ring either way.
Yeah. Must be nice, huh? Don't be mad at Timothy. Anyone who can help send the Lakers packing, it is okay. Yeah, that's true.
The Lakers might do it to themselves, man.
I mean, if they miss the playoffs this season, you know who's going to be happy? The Pelicans.
Oh, yeah.
Another shot at a top draft pick. I don't know. Is that pick protected?
I don't know if it's protected or not.
I'm really not sure about that, if it is at all. If you're the Lakers, there's no way that you were thinking that you'd be in this position right now when you're like, oh, we got LeBron and we're getting Anthony Davis. Davion Mitchell isn't going anywhere. Believe that. We'll see, Priest. I didn't think Tyrese Halliburton was going anywhere either. Yeah. So just going over the numbers tonight on this game, the Kings shot horrendous in this game. I think there was a point in this game where they were only shooting 30% from the field. They end with 38%, 31 of 81, and 21% from three-point range, while the Warriors were red hot from three, 16 of 34, 47% from three-point range. You know, the Kings shot well from the line. They did get to the line 24 times, made 21 of those, which we like, but it doesn't matter when you're down 26.
No, it does not matter.
Kings got out-rebounded in this game. They were actually able to turn over the Warriors a lot in this game in the second half. I think the Warriors had 7.
That's been one of the Warriors' Achilles' heels all season long is turnovers. They've been one of the worst teams in the league all year long in terms of total turnovers.
I think they had 7 turnovers at halftime, so they turned the ball over 10 times. But the Kings were just not able to really capitalize on those. And, you know, when you're down 26 and you go, you cut the lead by 19 to 7, how exhausted are you at that point? How much do you really have to keep going, right?
Definitely.
Timothy, get off the drugs.
Man, playoff basketball is here. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, Timothy, you guys got a great team, man. It's all going to depend on health. It really is, like a lot of these teams.
It definitely will.
And what's going to happen with Curry and all that stuff.
Well, Curry's going to play. I'm very certain of that. The question is, what's he going to look like? And, you know, what does Clay do in the playoffs? Man, it's just the playoffs just gets ratcheted up to a whole nother level. So
they could be playing Utah.
They could, or Denver. I mean, those are not easy first-round matchups either way.
I know Utah has not looked the greatest this year, but last year during the regular season, they were absolutely deadly. They still have one of the best centers in the league and one of the best shooting guards in the league, a great system, a great coach, and they got a bunch of shooters on that team too. So
they do.
I would just because you made,
be fun to watch.
Just because you're the 3rd seed doesn't mean you're going to the 2nd round or the 3rd round or any of that stuff. So, Suns gonna burn up the Warriors. I mean, if they play each other, you got to make it that far. Was there anything else, Calvin, that really stuck out to you here in the team stats?
No, I mean the biggest obvious differential in this game is 3-point shooting. Like, you know, the Warriors were really hot, but also the Kings were letting them take wide open shots. I mean, to not come out and guard Bielitsa on the 3-point line.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the guy can get to the basket, but he's not anywhere near the fastest player in the league. All he wants to do is stand out there and shoot with nobody around him. That's what he does.
You know, I loved him on the Kings.
On the Kings, he looks like the white Buddy Hield sometimes. But on the Warriors, this guy is like a serious player for them. He has been all year long. So you got to guard him on the 3-point line.
I love it how Katie, during the broadcast, she's like, he's a perfect example of how you don't have to be athletic or be able to do this or do that to be a good player. And she's like, no shade on him, but it's like, you're not athletic at all. Will Justin Holiday be on the squad next season, Calvin?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think they're, like somebody else said, I think it was Gotham said, only Sabonis is safe. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not.
Maybe.
But I think the very clear answer is there are a lot of players on this team who you're very uncertain of their future with Sacramento, and Justin Holiday has got to be one of them.
Yeah, I love that charge he took in the game tonight. He just jumped right in front there. Yeah. Way to sacrifice your body.
And it's too bad because Justin Holiday, he's a career 38% three-point shooter. Like, he's struggled since he's come to Sacramento, but he is the type of player that the Kings are looking for. Maybe not to be your starting shooting guard, but he's definitely a guy that could be a role player on this team and help them, I think, if he's playing to his capabilities, his level.
Yeah, and for me, it all comes down to the almighty dollar, right?
Yeah.
He's under contract next season, but we don't know. If the Kings are trying to go after a big name guy, maybe a Julius Randle or something like that, maybe he's going to be included in a trade. Maybe they need to clear up some salary. I know Monty has stated that he wants his team to remain financially flexible. Part of me says, well, you got a guy making, I think it's like $6 million next year, and then he's a free agent after that. That sounds like cap flexibility to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
He could potentially be on the team next season, but where is he going to be past that? Oh, I forgot to turn these on here, Calvin.
Oh, yeah, the bar is open.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. The bar is open here. I hope you're enjoying our little preview of our setup for Basketball at the Bar. It's going to be a fun time, so make sure you guys subscribe. Basketball at the Bar on YouTube. It will be a ton of fun. All right, Calvin. So, 3 games left to end the season. You got New Orleans, you got LA, and you got Phoenix. I know the Kings are officially eliminated now, but let's just talk about these 3 games real quick. I don't want to drag the show on too late tonight because it's been a rough day for us Sacramento people. So, yeah. New Orleans, LA Clippers, Phoenix Suns. Which game are you looking forward to the most?
Probably this New Orleans game, just because out of all 3 of those teams, that's the one team that really is still trying to play, winning or they need to win. It's not that the other teams are just kind of floating around. Obviously, the Suns are locked up at the number 1 seed. They're the least, the team that has to worry the least. But New Orleans is still has a lot to prove with these new players. McCollum and Brandon Ingram have been killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of these games are going to be tough for Sacramento. I don't know, for the Clippers game, if Paul George will play or not, because they've kind of been putting him in and out of the lineup sporadically.
Yep.
So we're probably not going to see a lot of big-name players in those 2 games, the Clippers and the Suns, but for both teams. New Orleans is still going to play all their main guys, which could mean that's the worst game result-wise for Sacramento, but it's probably going to be the most exciting to watch.
Ray said it's time to shut down Mitchell, HB, and DiVincenzo. You agree or disagree?
Who else are you going to play?
Just not put anybody out there for the...
You're going to start Justin Jackson at the 1, Jeremy Lamb at the 2.
Yeah. What was that dude from
Alex Len at the 4.
From Saturday Night Live?
5.
Put that guy out
there. Oh,
yeah.
Go Sacs.
Oh, man, that's funny. I want Siakam in a Kings jersey. Dude, that'd be
great.
The more
I want him in a Kings jersey, too.
And more I watch Metu, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Siakam.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just some of his spin moves and the way he works. He's got good footwork. He doesn't do it consistently enough for me. He doesn't. What would you be willing to give up for Siakam?
What would I be willing to give up? I'd give up a lot for him. I mean, especially with the way that Davion has played, to end the season. Mm-hmm. That really changes things for the Kings.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the option to say, and I'm not advocating that they trade De'Aaron Fox, but it gives you that option now if it is able to net you somebody like a Siakam or a perennial all-star talent player.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you think a lineup of Fox, Davion, Dante, HB, Siakam, and Sabonis is a playoff team? I mean, I tend to think that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that team is definitely better than this team.
Yeah.
Which means they should be a playoff team because they're right on the fringe basically now. But, you always not really sure why or what whether guys would fit together and stuff like that. And of course, a lot would ride on Davion having a really solid second season. You know, now that he's going to be the man and the starting point guard, he's going to have to really bring it next year. And I'm sure he will. He'll work his ass off in the offseason.
Hopefully not a sophomore slump.
But still, that's a lot of pressure to put on his shoulders right away, you know.
Sass got a good question here. Why would the Raptors trade Siakam?
That's a good question. I don't know. Crazier things have happened in the NBA, though.
Yeah, it depends on whether he's happy there or not. You know, they got Scotty Barnes who can...
They do have Scotty Barnes who could easily slide into his spot.
Yep.
You know, they might be looking to get younger and all that
Save
stuff.
some money.
So save money that way. You never really know.
Matthew says, LOL, we finally get Fox some help, then trade him. I mean, we've been consistent this whole season, right? That like nobody on this team is untradeable. It's all about improving this team, bringing more talent. So I'm willing to trade anybody on this roster if I get more talent back in return. And I think that most teams should feel that way about their rosters, unless you got, you know, a Giannis or a prime LeBron or somebody like that, maybe a Kevin Durant. You should always be looking to improve your team any way that you can. And, you know, there's a balance, right? Because I was watching HB's press conference after the game, and he talks about this is his fourth season here in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And he's like, me and Fox are the only guys still here. Only guys in the whole, like, franchise, basically, other than the owner and obviously some of the people that work at the arena. But front office, all different. Coaching staff, all different. Roster, all different. So, you know, you want to have some consistency, but you need to keep improving your team. Just look at the Golden State Warriors again, man. It's just wild how unlucky they've been over the past few years with injuries, which has allowed them to just add more and more talent. And I don't see a big drop-off really happening when Steph and Clay and Draymond walk away, because they could potentially turn this into a Spurs type of 20-year run or something like that.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, you know, there's a lot of luck involved in that as well. But yeah, they have it all. They're a great organization, like you said. And just going back to this trade for Siakam here, Sass, I get you. Masai Ujiri is a great GM, but Monty McNair's not a stupid GM. I have faith of him going to trade talks with any GM in this league. He didn't get fleeced by Daryl Morey and go after the Ben Simmons prize. I mean, imagine if the Kings had traded for Ben Simmons, and now Ben Simmons is having the same situation he's having in Brooklyn here in Sacramento. I mean, it would feel like the sky was absolutely falling, you know? So I've got faith in Monty that he will not only be able to negotiate a deal, but he's not going to get played by anybody, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and I was not a big Siakam fan in the beginning because I felt like all he had was a spin move, and he did seem kind of out of control at times. But the more and more I watched the guy, he just got better and better and better, and he impressed me. And I think that he could be the second or third best player on this roster. And Calvin, I don't know if you heard after the game, but Matt Barnes called De'Aaron Fox the best player on the team again. So I think we're in some agreement there. But they were talking about bringing in a leader. And I know it's funny. The story that he told is basically the same story that every Kings fan is going to say. And that was about Iman Shumpert. And when he was with the Kings, how he wasn't the best player on the team, but he just brought that swagger, that energy, that kind of contagious attitude to the court. And guys loved it. And, you know, when he got traded to Portland for, I think it was Trevor Ariza, everybody hated it. And, you know, we saw the product on the court diminish pretty fast for Sacramento. But Matt Barnes was just using that as like your best player doesn't always need to be that guy. You look at the Warriors. Obviously, that guy is Draymond Green. Is he their best player? No. Is he their second best player? No. Is he their third best player? Probably, maybe third, fourth, depending on.
I don't know. I'd say Andrew Wiggins
where
is
you are
third best player
at this point.
Team.
But the Kings need to figure out who that guy is going to be if he is on this team already, or if they need to bring one in, and hopefully that guy can rub off on Fox and maybe teach him how to win, just how we saw LeBron learn how to win in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those guys are incredibly important for teams, without a doubt. I mean, you saw how much the Warriors missed Draymond when he was hurt for that month stretch or whatever it was.
Yep.
That pretty much was the reason they fell from the 2 seed to the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm. Sass says, get a coach that is the leader.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I also agree with what Sass said earlier about Kenny Atkinson or Mike Brown. I like Kenny Atkinson more.
Yeah.
I think Mike Brown is a good coach, but
couldn't win with LeBron, just like Mr. Luke Walton.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, yes, all coaches should be a leader, right? Like, that's basically their job. Is they're the leader of the team. But, you know, what makes a coach's job easier, or what helps them, is to have that player that's an extension of the coaching staff. Mm-hmm. You kind of saw it a little bit this year with Mo Harkless and Alvin Gentry. They had the connections from New Orleans, and he tried to kind of be that guy. We saw him just yelling at Buddy Hield basically every game. That was his leadership style. But then you look at teams like the Golden State Warriors. Look in this game. As soon as Draymond got in trouble there, he went right over to Kerr, talked to him. They got on the same page. We saw what happened in Miami just a few weeks ago with Udonis Haslem. He is an extension of Eric Spoelstra. You need to find these guys that really help out your coaching staff, and they make it a full team, not a coaching staff and players, but they combine them together and give you that overall team chemistry.
I got a crazy one for you. Sacktown Pete put out a tweet yesterday. Shout out, by the way, Sacktown Pete.
That's a rhyme.
Right? Put out a tweet yesterday. After the Final Four games were over.
Okay, after Duke lost.
There's a guy who coaches at Duke who's retiring.
Oh, yeah?
What if he wants to come out of retirement? Would you take him as the head coach of the Sacramento Kings?
Of course I would, but why would he come to Sacramento?
I know, I don't think it's likely, but, you know, just a super wild card in there for you.
I thought you and I talked the other day, and you said the Lakers re-signed Frank Vogel, or they gave him an extension.
I saw something on TV that said that. They were giving him an extension.
I read an article today saying that the Lakers might chase after John Calipari.
Oh, really? Well, I don't know. Maybe it was a April Fool's thing or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what day I saw that on, but...
Damn April Fools. You get us every time, man. All these people are doing crazy things. We should have done an April Fool's on this show.
Yeah, next year.
Next year. And you guys won't even know. You won't even know. Anyone else in Seattle go to, what is it, Parathon right now and get their super mac and cheese with brisket? You'll die happy.
Man, I'd love to. If it wasn't 3,000 miles away, I would totally do it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's probably raining there, so I probably wouldn't be happy to be there.
It's been raining here for the last 4 days.
Yeah, but it rains and it's sunny and it's nice and it's bright and all that good stuff. All right, Calvin, I think I'm ready to wrap up the show. Anything else you want to talk about before we do?
I just want to say thank you to everybody out there. You know, it's been a long season, and
yeah,
for all of us, Kings players, Kings fans, everything, and you know, this is a good community of people. I love coming in here and seeing the same guys in the chat every day. I feel like we've kind of gotten to know each other over the year, and
yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, I want to say thank you as well. We appreciate all the support and everything. You know, it's really fun. We're all the way here in Hawaii, right? So there's not a lot of Kings fans. It's really cool to come in here and hang out with you guys after every single game and pick your brain, see where you guys are all at. It's fun and it's exciting. I want to remind you all to like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you love awesome Kings content. We would greatly appreciate it. I'm also going to put basketball at the bar here in the chat. If you guys want to subscribe to that, that will be our postseason coverage of the entire NBA. Also want to give another shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped. If you guys would like to support the channel, support us, you can go to manscaped.com. You can use our coupon code. It's Royal Family, all capitals, one word, Royal Family. It'll get you 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. All right, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you all. We will see you guys on Tuesday following the Kings-Pelicans game. Have a wonderful evening, and in the meantime, go Sacs.